What's going on, Paisanos? V here, and today I'm going to talk about my deck profile that I got 7th place in the remote Duel Extravaganza this weekend with. This is my Shaddoll Invoked deck list, and I won a winner mat the day before on Saturday, and then on Sunday I went ahead and decided to just lose only one game and win the rest of my games. 7th place, X1 record. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys my main side extra, and then we're going to go over the entire breakdown. What I would change, what I won't change. I'll give you guys my my round by rounds and what I played and how all that went down, and tell you guys my thoughts on Shaddoll Invoked and why I still think it's one of the best decks of the meta right now. Alright, so we're going to go over the spells. We got 3 Magical Meltdown. You have 3 Shaddoll Fusion. 3 Super Poly. 2 Invocation. So can you guys see that? There you go. 2 Shaddoll Fusion, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Instant Fusion, 1 Terraforming, and 1 Call by the Grave. And that's the entire spell lineup. For the monster lineup, we got double Squamata, double Hedgehog, double Wendy, 1 Ariel, 1 Dragon, 1 Beast. So that's for the Shaddoll lineup. We also had 3 Alisters, 3 Artifact Lancia, 3 Ash Blossom Joyous Springs, 3 Fantastical Dragon Phantasme, and the trap lineup is just simply 1 Reshadar Incarnation and 1 Shaddoll Schism. Let me do the I'll do the extra deck first. Okay. So for the extra deck, we're rocking out with 2 El Shaddoll Construct, 2 Winda, 2 App Cologne. Then we have the Invoked Engine, the 1 Mechaba, 1 Rajin, 1 Purgatrio, 1 Ogoides. Super high targets, we're going to have Stark Venom Fusion Dragon as well as Predator Pantrax Apelia. That's the pure super high targets. Obviously, you have other things you can super high away with. 1 Gravity Controller, 1 Artemis, and 1 Predator Plant Verta Anaconda. Okay, so now it's going to get kind of squished in here. I'm going to try to show you guys my side deck. 3 Evenly Match, 3 Nibiru, 3 Dark Rule No More, 3 Triple Tactus Talents, 1 Harpy's Veluster, and 2 Cosmic Cyclone. Alright. So I'm gonna break this deck down to you in sections on why I think, and what I like, what I don't like, and what I think about this deck. Before I do, let me give you guys my round by round, because when I mean I went X1 this weekend, I went X1 everything. So I played on a Winamax on Saturday, the only one Winamax, and round 1 I played against Raid Raptors. I 2-0'd Raid Raptors. Round 2 I played against Prank Kids, and unfortunately I disconnected. I moved my keyboard, and somehow that killed my camera, and yeah, disconnected on that one. So I started off with a game loss on that one, and then game 2 I went Winda, and then game 3 I Ashram went Winda, and there goes that against Prank Kids. Round 3 I played against Invoked, Invoked. He gains advantage game when I instantly scoop because I don't want to burn the clock. Then game 2 I gain advantage. He banishes both of his Golden Lords, which you can easily do with like Invocation. He scoops. Game 3, it ends in time. He has a face of Golden Lord on board, Conquistador. I have Ogoides on board. I have Alistair, and I top deck a Evenly Matches a hand trap. I honestly felt like I still would have won that. So I win the winner mat. I instantly get entry into for $12, basically $12. You get a mat, 3 packs, and entry into the main event on Sunday. All right. So on Sunday, I keep hearing numbers about how many people that entered. We got 348, you got 350. It's all over the place. I'll be honest with you. I don't know. All I know is I've been told it's over 350. That's all I know as far as how many people entered that event. Round 1, people were dropping. It was insane. But, okay. So I'm table 11, round 1. I'm playing Dragon, Drighton, Dragoon. And this deck just sounds insanely spicy. I really do like it. But I 2-1 them. I triple attack his talents, a Dragoon, and end that game. That's literally how it went, and that's why this card's amazing. So now I went to table 40 in the second round. I played Orcus, Machina, Fogblade. I 2-1 that guy. Definitely a very interesting deck, though, I will say. I'm shocked I even won. We went to game 3, and I won in game 3, and I had to outgrind them. I should have went first and went into Winda, but I wound up not doing that for some odd reason, and I instantly regretted it by not going in the first in game 3. So I had to like literally grind this kid out, which was insane. Then round 3 I played against Dragon Link and I was table at 8. I want you to understand my tables on this one, because majority of the day I was on the single digit table numbers. That's how crazy this deck is. and I was playing against Dragon Link, and in game 3, I went in time. I really wanted to like play it out because I really felt like I had stuff I could do, but unfortunately, it was a 2-0. I wound up winning that one. Round 4, table 6, Eldritch with pure Dragoon. So I guess you could say like pure Eldritch with a Dragoon. That was my round 4. I wound up 2-0ing that guy. And then round 5, table 8, I played against Virtual World. And listen, the guy I played against, I'm not sure if you're watching this video or not. You played really slow. We couldn't finish it. Number 1. Number 2, I played sloppy. That might have been a tied game, to be honest with you. But unfortunately, I mean, my opponent would have definitely, if he was here, he would definitely say, I misplayed a lot, and unfortunately, I lost that 0-2. My game 2 misplays were so bad. I mean, I literally had to give my board 2-3 times. Just gave it away. I don't know what was happening. That was my mistake. I don't think necessarily it was this deck's mistake, but that was definitely on me. So then I went to table 23, round 6. I played against Per Eldritch, and I won in time. Because the thing about when I go into time with this deck, but I feel like a majority of my plays are relatively quick. It's the reaction to the plays this deck can do is what I think it makes a lot of players think about, because they're trying to see if they can break up board and kill me. Because if they can't, well, with the Shaddolls, I'm going to reset my board easily. And not only am I going to reset my board, I'm going to punish them now. When you have a Construct and send these to the graveyard, I'm going to gain advantage. When I have Winda, I'm going to relock them. If I have App Cologne, I'm just going to shut them down. So, majority of my opponents, majority of times I went to time, wasn't because I was slow playing with this deck. You ask anyone I played against throughout this event, I didn't slow play. I literally played as efficiently as possible with this deck, because every time I made my board, my opponent had to go, can I kill him? Like, that's the thing, because if you can't kill me, I'm going to reset the board. I'm going to get Alistar and reset the board. I'm going to get Shaddoll card and reset the board. And not only reset the board, I'm going to punish you for not murdering me. So I'm going to murder you, more than likely, if not reset the board. So that's why I think I went to time a lot in this event. And that was what? Round 6 of table 23 Per Eldritch. I won in time. And then round 7, I played against Blackwing, Dogmatica Dragoon, probably the nicest guy in the entire event. At table 9, by the way. I have his profile. It's coming out soon. 2-1. I wound up playing, so I won game 1. Game 2, he Dragooned me, burned me with Dragoon attack. I was like, you know what, you got it. Game 3, he sets the Dragoon board up again. Talents takes his Dragoon and kills him with it. I'm telling everybody, this card's absolutely insane. So that was at table 9. And then round 8, I was at table 5. I played against Striker, Eldritch, against Elise, a Twitch streamer and content creator and whatnot. And that was a crazy game, but it's basically, when you play against any kind of Eldritch Striker matchup, the mentality of the way you play this deck changes instantly. You're playing a resource-based game. Same with Eldritch. You're playing resource. I've been saying, if you guys have been watching my stream on twitch.tv/YGOPaisano, links will be down below. But your mentality doesn't shift to, I mean, if you can kill him, you can kill him. Great. I killed Elise in game 1 quickly. Because I knew had I not done that, if I couldn't do that, I would have to play more resource space. But that's the mentality of this deck when you're playing it. You have to say, can I kill my opponent as well? If not, I need to gain more resources than they can. That's why cards like Evening Match is such a big card in this deck, because if you play any Eldritch variant and you evening them, and you quickly gain resources immediately afterwards, the game's pretty much over. Like, we're gonna still play it. You might still try to, like, reset yourself by activating traps, but if I have my established board, you're probably not gonna do much. And that's what I really like about this deck a lot. It plays the resource game. So that was my rounds. Once again, throughout the entire weekend, you could technically say I played 11 games, including the Winamat. Only X1. On stream, I constantly go X1. I don't know why. The universe is just laughing at this deck and me, I guess. But no matter what I do, I'm going X1. And so let me go a couple of my choices. So we'll go over choices of what other players play and why I decided to make the plays I play and what would I change. I play one Schism, one Shaddoll Incarnation. I don't play the other trap cards. I feel like these two are more than enough. Shaddoll's a really good card if you want to at the same time flip something up like a so what I would do is I would send it away and I'll flip it like a hedgehog, continue my plays, and this would actually help me kill my opponent really quickly. Schism is a card I don't go into immediately. In fact, the majority of my games I would go into Schism probably around, I would say, like turn 3-4, which is really mid game for this deck. I don't immediately run to this card, even though it's a phenomenal card. It's really rare I do that. I like to play other cards and not run the Schism. The reason why is because I like my opponent to try to use their cards to get rid of my other stuff on board that I could gain advantage off of, rather than Schism. It's that simple. I think competitive terraforming are like needed, even though I do side terraforming out a lot. So the day before the event, actually the day before the Winamat, I think it was, someone suggested, because I was running instant fusion, I was upstart goblin, sorry. Someone suggested that I run instant fusion. They go, hey V, just run instant fusion. It's better than upstart goblin. You get instant fusion out a window. You get instant fusion out a Ragin, even though I always call it Purgatrio. You get instant fusion these two out easily, and then you can just gain advantage. If your window gets popped, you can actually spell or trap. If Raging, you could book a Moon it and get value from it. And I thought that was a really cool play. I played in an event, and I never saw it at all. To be honest with you, I might get rid of the Instant Fusion, and I might sub it in with a third Shaddoll Fusion. I originally only played 2, because I don't want to open up multiple copies of this card, because I feel like it's a really bad card to open up multiple copies of. Unlike Shaddoll Fusion, which is insane value, I feel like Shaddoll Fusion is not as big. But it's still a card I definitely would like to see more of. So this might become another Shaddoll Fusion, or it might become an Upstart Goblin again, or it might become stay being an Instant Fusion. I'm still gonna be testing a lot of this card out. Of course, you're a Foolish Burial. This card was absolutely amazing. I always want to slide this card out, and I always never do. Like I was looking for a split second and go, nah, I can't. It's just a phenomenal card. Obviously, Shaddoll Fusion is excellent. Invocation you got paid 2 of. I was debating on doing Cypher File a day before, the next day. A day late after watching this video, because I'm at the other ulti in the mail. It's coming tomorrow, but whatever, dude. Suapali obviously is one of the best cards. This is the reason why we don't fear anybody, even going second. I should have worked out how many dice rolls I won and lost, but I feel like I lost more dice rolls than I won. The opponents still allow me to go first, but the majority of my opponents I played that won dice roll against me, they wanted to go first. And this is one of those cards that I look at and go, great. Because this is your main deck answer for like a Predator, Inverted Anaconda, Dragoon play, or any kind of Dragon Link play. This is one of the things you have that you just break through boards with. And the cool thing about it, which I love so much about it, is you can go Alistair, go Suapali, go Shaddoll, go Suapali, or your opponent just has 2 Dark Monsters. Or in the case of Draxtapelia, you could just break their board by going Dark Monster, Fusion, all that jazz. So I really like this card a lot. Obviously, Shaddoll Fusion and Magical Meltdown. People are still questioning Magical Meltdown and Shaddoll Fusion. They're still wondering what can they like. I would Shaddoll Fusion with Meltdown on board. Resign plays, my opponent will go, I'll chain. No, you won't. You won't chain nothing. You won't chain. Like Dragon literally was gonna pop one of your cards, and unfortunately, you can't chain anything. Really cool interaction. Makes your card spell speed, any of your fusion cards spell speed 4, which is absolutely broken. And of course with Meltdown, I mean, this card's absolutely insane. And then next we have Phantasme. Phantasme is a card I really like a lot, even though I do sometimes side this card out. If I see my opponent going into any kind of link play, this card's insane. A majority of the time when I played, even in testing, when I played anybody that went like Alistair on me and went Alistair into a Artemis, I just went Phantasme. That's crazy good value. Against a lot of matchups, Phantasme is just a phenomenal card. Especially last round when I played against Striker, Elliot, this card I felt like was really good. I never really, once again, opening this card, I always felt like this card was always good. And the worst of it was always fusion material because it's a dark monster. Shaddolls, if you guys play Shaddolls or know about this deck, you know that at times it cannot draw the best hands, but this card allows you to draw the best hands. It's also a dark target for Suapali. It's just crazy value. I'm telling you right now, if anyone's playing this deck in the future or varying this deck, you have to run this card. It's non-negotiable. This card fixes bad hands. 3 Ash Blossom is very generic, and Lancia. So, the question was running 3 Lancia, 3 Nibiru. What do you main? And the reason I like Lancia, because it hits more. With Lancia, excuse me. Well, Lancia, it's good against dragons. I feel like Nibiru is better, but Lancia is good against dragons. But what else can Lancia do? Well, it's good against Eldritch. They can gain advantage by setting the traps. If they can get advantage that turn by setting the traps, they might not ever get the traps because you're going to aerial those traps away on their turn. So this card's good against that matchup. It's good against Bird Up. You activate against Bird Up basically passes their turn. You can be really adorable and wait till Bird goes to a lake monster so you can proc a Shaddoll Fusion in case you open it and then hit them that way, which is really cool. But ultimately, like, that ends Bird Up's turn. And if Bird Up passes their turn and you go Winda, they'll see you in game 2 if they even had that available to them. So this card's huge against that. It's just really good against a lot of decks that meta right now, whereas this is really, really impactful on the big decks. I felt like we had already decent matchup against Dragon Links. Want to add this and be good against a majority of decks in the game. Obviously, you play 3 Alistair. I'm not sure if anyone's ever even thinking about playing 2. I think 3 Alistair is great. If you Meltdown, you Alistair. If you have Alistair and Meltdown, or Invocation and Meltdown, your opponent's gonna wait for you to summon an Alistair. Like, I don't know. I always like the idea of 3, 3, and 2. It just makes a lot of sense. I want to play 2 dragon, but this deck's 40, and I'm not putting another card over it. But I feel like always when I went to dragon for the pop, when having meltdown on board, it was always a big deal. I always felt like I gained free advantage against my opponent by doing this, so I really like that a lot. And Ariel's obviously another insane card. You only need to play 2 of each of his dolls. At times I did slide out Hedgehog, not both of them, just one of them, to make extra room. And the reason why is because if you open up Hedgehog going second against your opponent, you're probably not going to really get any value off that. So that's the only time I really would side out like a Hedgehog. For the extra deck, Anaconda is one of my favorite cards. If you guys saw me 2 weeks ago, my Twitch streams, I was losing games because I didn't have this card in. But having this card not only allows me to win games, but yeah, it's like Dragoon, except you don't need Dragoon. I don't play Dragoon at all. I would never play Dragoon in this deck. I don't think Dragoon's a great card. I think it's a great card to talent and kill your opponent with. It's a great card to super poly with. It's just not that big of a deal unless you can have multiple negates and multiple ways to protect your Dragoon. It's just not worth it. What I like about the plan for the Anaconda is, though, you can use it for Invocation, you can use it for Shaddoll Fusion, but more importantly, you can use it for Super Polymerization because you don't got to discard a card, you just copies the effect. So you just go, oh yeah, Anaconda Super Poly, and your opponent goes, alright, discard for Quash, and you're like, no, it just sends it. And then you just go, and Anaconda time, and then you just make one of these. Or, like I said, I've done as well, Anaconda for Shaddoll Fusion. And if one has an extra monster, well, guess what? You get to just get value. It's kind of crazy. Artemis, once again, another phenomenal card. Helps you get a light target. Gravity Controller. One of the cards I didn't play was the Salamangreat Amirage, and that's because I just didn't have room. This deck, I had to cut a lot of things, unfortunately. And there's certain cards I would love to add if I had an opportunity to add, but you really don't. I feel like the extra deck is perfect, and you can't change anything in it if you want to maximize your consistency. Almirage would be number 16, and we're not even done yet. There's way more cards we'll add. These 2 cards are really important because they're situational depending on the game state you're entering in. And if you're main Super Poly, you gotta have all those open, these cards ready for that. 2 Dark Monsters because if you play against Dragons, and Draxapelia if you play against, well, everything else. Because 2 Dark Monsters, if you play against Dragons, they're not really going to have a Fusion monster on board. They're going to have 2 Synchros, they're going to have the Bounce Hieratic Seal, a Trap, and maybe another random Dragon monster. Maybe. They're not really always going to have a Fusion. So I feel like this is a lot better against Heart Red and your opponent's Borlo Savage. This card, like I said, is just great against everything else. And I went into both these cards throughout the day. So Ogoy's obviously is a great card. Purgatrio, I really didn't get a chance to kill my opponent with it at this event. I did put it on board many times, and I did threaten game many times, and my opponent always responded every time. And the reason why that's important is because this card always threatens to kill my opponent. And I think any card that threatens to kill your opponent is a card that you need to play. And what's cool about Purgatrio is not only can you threaten to kill your opponent, the minute you put it on, your opponent has to respond to this card almost as soon as possible. The other cool thing about that is, this is only one play, and you have multiple plays. So you just put a way to kill your opponent down, you put a bunch of other cards down, and your opponent has to respond to the Murder Me dot card. And you can, so once again, I really test this card out if you haven't already. Raijin is one of my favorite cards, and I'm glad I'm playing this card again. Throughout multiple times in the event, Raijin has been OP for me. When I played against, I think it was my Dragon Link play, against Dragon Links, what I did was I Rashadalled back my Winda, and then I had Raijin on board. And that was it against him. We went at each other, we broke each other's boards. It was a I think it was game 1 was insane. And then I went Rashadall, brought Winda in defense mode, and had Raijin on board, and it said pass turn. And my opponent just drew for his turn, was like, yep, can't do anything against that. Another phenomenal thing I like about Raijin as well is, and it's if you have a face-up Hedgehog, or any Shaddoll monster, but specifically Hedgehog, I know, so I do this a lot with. Raijin just resets, gains more value, and that's what you want to do with this. Like, you want to gain value as much as possible. That's one thing I like about Raijin. We could only play 1 Invoked Mechaba. I really want to play 2. Could I want to 2 in this event? Sometimes, but not 100%, not always needed. Very specific times I would think I would need a second one. It'd be number 17. Unfortunately, Konami allows us to have 15 cards. But to be honest with you, 1 was more than enough. You just gotta manage your resources properly. 2 App Cologne. I think the original list I found this deck that had this only played 1 App Cologne. 2 App Cologne's insane. I love this card. This card just the ability to blank things out is insane. I played against Strikers last round, and I blanked out their multi-row. I blanked out their field spell with double App Clone in a single turn, and it was really, really awesome. I think this card's insane. The amount of value you get from this card. This is the card I usually use to get skills into my hand, by the way. But the amount of value you get from App Clone is absolutely broken. We go 2 Winda, can't go 3. And if we had an 18 slot, we'd go third construct. A couple times throughout this event, I felt like third construct did come up. But once again, I feel like the numbers in this deck is perfect for that extra deck. I don't think there's any way to negotiate anything else. Unless Konami just comes out tomorrow and says, hey guys, if you're playing Shaddoll Invoked, you can play 18 cards in your extra deck. This is exactly what I would play. I would not chase one card. I will say though, I really wish I played 3 constructs throughout the event. Could I win the 3 constructs? Probably, but once again, I went to every single card in my extra deck multiple times throughout the event, consistently, and I really did like it a lot. I really did feel like all these cards put in a ton of work, and yeah, it's just managing your resources and understanding what you can do given the situation you're in. Alright, for the side deck, I played, so let me go over this card real quickly. Evenly Match. Evenly Match is insanely good against any deck that wants to set backer on you. Basically, Ellick. The top cut had, I think, 5 Ellick variants. And every time I play against Ellick, Evenly Match went in. This card just cleans your opponent out. Like, that's what you want to do. Once again, your mentality snaps from, instead of setting a board and managing resources, playing a nice, long mid-range game, to, I need to gain immediate resource faster than my opponent can, and maintain it. Because if I don't, and it slows down, I'm probably not going to gain that back. That's the way you got to think about it. And Evenly Match is one of those phenomenal cards. Now, I will say, every time I played against my opponent, every time they went first, after, I believe, game 2 and 3, they kind of knew that. They didn't set up a lot of back row. They didn't dedicate a lot of stuff. But I don't care. If I can evenly match and make our opponent give me an Ella trap or 2 Ella traps at times, that would, for the most part, happen, I'm happy. And that's basically what it came down to. And that's great. Once again, we're playing resource games. Ellich runs 3 Sanguine, 3 Elixirs, 3 Conch, and 2 Hakuedo. If they run 3 Hakuedo, no big deal. Still, nevertheless, you want to take resources out of them. So this is why this card is absolutely insanely important. Nibiru is really good against a lot of like rogue spam decks as well as Dragon Links. You still got to put it in against that matchup. Dark Rule No More. I don't run Forbidden Droplet. I don't run this card because we need to keep resources. I keep saying that over and over again, but Dark Rule No More is a card you still want to keep in your deck because this card is still really important at just blinking out your opponent's board, Shaddoll Fusion, and then popping over and once again breaking their board again and clearing everything out. Then we run, obviously, my playset Triple Tactics Talents. This is my baby. I know everyone's going to be commenting probably, hey man, what do I run instead of this card? If you can't run Talents and you have Dragoon package, you can run the Dragoon package. Have fun putting that in here. That's insane. I like Talents more because Talents literally says, you worked hard for your Dragoons. I bait and take your Dragoons, and then I kill you with Dragoons. And I've done that in this event. I've done that throughout streaming when I streamed this deck all last week. Probably going to be streaming it today. This card is amazing at doing that efficiently. It also allows you to gain resources in any variant of like a mirror match that you know that your opponent's going to pop up during your main phase. This card always went in. I wish I could main this card, but I want to keep this deck at 40, and I feel like the deck is almost perfect. So the main deck's almost perfect, so that's why I didn't want to mess around with it. I love this card. I literally spent a lot of money getting a playset of Starlight Rares because I feel like until this card gets banned, I'm going to play this card constantly. If I can fit this card in the main deck, it's going in. I love this card a lot. I think this card's insane. And I think a lot of players did not expect. Everyone I played against Dragoon, they didn't expect I had talents. They felt like they had to do a negate, but every time I talents them, it was game. That was over. Or if I played against any kind of variation of a Shaddoll match or a matchup I felt like my opponent could activate during the main phase, this card became Pot of Greed. That's insane. This card literally said, huh? Pot of Greed. And my opponent, for the most part, goes yes. If they're gonna ash this, cool, then I Shaddoll Fusion and win. Also, you play Harvest Feduster and 2 Cosmic Cyclone. The only card you can consider changing this off for would be Lightning Storms. The reason I like Cosmic Cyclone is because I feel like the Elite matchup, I really want to Cyclone their back row. Against Shaddolls, this is really, I mean, not Shaddolls, against Prank Kids, I want to hit one of their cards during the standby phase, because if you hit a Prank Kids Fusion, they're kind of dead, the game's kind of over, so that's why I did like this card a lot, and that was my mentality going into this event. Lightning Storm, I felt like a lot of players are playing around Lightning Storm right now, and I felt like everyone's putting their monsters in face defense mode, because they don't care, they just want to get negations, they maintain advantage. For back row, I felt like if you back row your opponent with Lightning Storm, they really don't care as much, especially if they're playing Eldritch. The only player that kind of cares about you back rowing them with a Lightning Storm would be a Prank Kids player, and that's really situational, where I felt like Cyclone was just a lot better and more efficient. Trying to think what else there was. I think that's pretty much everything. I think that was the whole mentality of why I'm playing this. So I will say, maybe I'll test out Lightning Storm in the future and do 1 Duster, 2 Lightning Storms. I do have them around here somewhere. Maybe I'll try that out, but overall, guys, this is my deck. I got 7th place. I've been going X1 the past 2 weeks. We joked around on my Twitch stream saying I'm going X1 at this event. Played this event, won X1. It was crazy, and I really did enjoy playing this deck. I like this deck a lot. I think a lot of people don't either A, underestimate this deck, or B, they think they're gonna be able to outgrind. Little fun fact, the reason why I don't run Dogmatic Kit in this deck, because I feel like Dogmatic Kit is way too slow and doesn't allow you to gain resources. And that might sound kind of weird, being the fact that Dogmatic as an engine is almost a resource-based engine if played properly, right? The problem is, if you're playing Dogmatica Shaddolls, which obviously would be the best Dogmatica variant in my opinion, right now, the minute you activate Punishment and you can't special summon for a turn, the minute you do that is the minute I just win the game. If you guys want to check that out, once again, subscribe to me on Twitch. You can see all my past VODs, and you can see me playing against Dogmatica Shaddoll players. And they're not bad players. They know what they're doing. But by playing Punishment on me, I'm just going to walk right through you. That's going to be the turning point of the game. I'm going to lose stuff on board, but I'm going to gain stuff because I'm playing, once again, resource-based games. You got Alistair, Deck, or you got Shaddolls, which is, once again, going to instantly give me value. And the second they pass their turn, the game's I'm gonna go walk right past them. And that's basically what happens with this kind of deck. This deck's really good at doing that. So that's why I don't like playing Dogmatica. I don't like playing Dragoon. I feel like that card's terrible. And you bring out Dragoon, you get talents, you get killed by your own Dragoon. Like, what worse feeling is that in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! By getting killed by your own monster? Nobody wants to get killed by that. So that's why I like playing these cards. I just like playing this build. It rewards you if you play really well, and immediately punishes if you play really badly. Like I said, my loss was against Virtual World this event, and I think we would have tied. Game 2, I definitely messed up, and I immediately saw, multiple times, by the way, God, but I immediately saw what I did wrong, and it showed me what I can do better. And that's one thing I love about this deck. It does reward you. It doesn't have any worst matchup against any deck in the meta right now, but it doesn't have the best matchup. You gotta really play a skill-intensive base game when play this deck, and that's what I like about this deck a lot. It requires your skill, requires you understanding the meta, and that's insanely important. If you don't respect any other meta deck, like, let's say Prank Kids, which I felt like a lot of players didn't respect this event, you subsequently lose to that. And this deck instantly allows you to take advantage, given the situation you're in on the game state against your opponent. Anyway, Paisans, I really appreciate you guys watching my video. I'm probably going to have an updated build in the future. I'm going to be on Twitch stream. Once again, if you want to check that out, links will be down below, YGO_Paisano. I'm going to be playing this deck, and we're going to be maybe tweaking it. We'll see, and seeing what's the most optimal build. We got 7th place at this event, over 350-something plays, I guess. That's not going to stop. As long as the meta keeps going exactly as it is, it's going to get better. I'm excited about the new Shaddoll cards. Hopefully you guys are. And I have a lot of other ideas for the new stuff coming out that I think is going to really make this deck even better than what it currently is. I really appreciate you guys watching. Make sure to subscribe if you're not subscribed already. And it's your boy V, and you Paisanos. You Paisanos have a great day.